Alright guys, TacticalRab here today, and yesterday we went through that Facento to Evil Geniuses move. Today I want to go through the changes further down the list. There actually has been a fair few. So roster lock for the Pro League play-in was 2 days ago on January the 2nd. The Pro League play-in starts on January the 16th through the 20th. I went through the exact format for that a few videos ago. I'll link that down in the description box below. And the pool play announcement for that event, so it's 7 teams per pool, 4 pools. The top 2 teams go straight through to Pro League in each pool, the bottom 2 go out, and then the middle 3 in each of the 4 pools go into a 12-team bracket, of which the top 4 teams, I believe, go through to the Pro League to join the 4 top teams from Las Vegas, which were, of course, Optic Gaming, eUnited, Splice, and Luminosity Gaming. So, out of these 28 teams you have here on the screen, the ones I have their names up are the ones that, have made kind of relatively high profile roster changes, which we're going to go through today. Out of these teams, 12 of them will go on to the Pro League. And yeah, so today I want to talk through the changes that are kind of lesser known, they've happened more recently, but are still a pretty big deal in the context that these teams could potentially get into the Pro League. And also I want to go through some of the ideas about, is this format the best possible? Because definitely some players have got screwed over here, like some changes people have definitely been sketched on. But overall, I think the actual system, the way the qualification works this year is way better than in previous years. Definitely not perfect by any means, but the fact that some players can get screwed out of spots that they earned, okay, we'll go through that in the future or, later in this video. So if you enjoy, subscribe. If you're new and you think about it, all that good stuff as always, and let's crack right on with it. So, firstly, this Evil Geniuses roster at the top here, it's kind of a struggle to fit this all on the screen, but you guys should basically be able to see everything. This is the Evil Geniuses roster. We talked about this change yesterday. None of these other teams on the top rows have made any change. 100 Thieves are here as well. And yeah, we talked about this Pittsburgh Knights, G2 and FaZe Clan situation a little bit ago. Methods comes off FaZe to go to G2. Lacefield comes off Pittsburgh Knights to go to G2 as well. FaZe gets Celium in for Methods, and then Pittsburgh Knights is expected to be Ricky and Saints onto this squad, with Saints leaving Evil Geniuses. So these are really the main shuffles. So let's go on to this UYU situation. I think I can call them UU. I think that's what one of the owners or management people said. So Nova on this team got dropped off the squad. So this is his tweet from December the 30th. Free agent for the Pro League qualifier. Hit me up if your team needs a better fifth or I'm done playing. And that's really the tough thing about this is, okay, Clay says 2 weeks before, but really the real big deal, I think, is that this is like 3 days before roster lock. Could be worse, could be 3 hours before roster lock, but you're getting dropped 3 days before roster lock when, other teams have basically already solidified their spot. Unless they decide to go even worse and sketch on one of their teammates to get Nova in, then it's a really tough situation for him, especially for a top 16 squad that did really well at Vegas. And yeah, so superb performance at Vegas. Nova clearly does pretty well. I don't know, definitely earns his team the spot. And then, he can get dropped and not even get on a team that's even has a chance to make Pro League and kind of get revenge or whatever you want to call it. So, yeah, there's other situations like that as we'll go through this, but Nova's off the squad, supposedly being replaced by Gorgo Knight. Not sure if you heard that name. He was in the conversation for actually joining the Pittsburgh Knights. So, yeah, he's apparently going to be going into this UU team. And yeah, it's really interesting looking at Nova's achievements here because when we look at this squad, oh, that's the next one. When we look at this squad, we have Mayhem and, Spoof, and Nova was on that team, and he's played with these guys for ages. Like, we look back, Infinite Warfare time, this is when he first teamed up with Spoof and Believe in, May, something like that. And, he's been playing with them for all this time, and now is the situation where he gets dropped off this squad for Gorgo Knight, it seems. Now, the situation we're going to talk about next with Giants, these players that have teamed for a long time, apparently that doesn't make any difference when the Pro League play-in is on the line. A really interesting change that we'll talk about in just a second. So back to this initial one, we then have Mindfreak. Now, this hasn't been confirmed, which is kind of interesting, but Swifty got confirmed to be added to the squad. So this is the Mindfreak tweet. Dawn of a new era, welcome Mindfreak Swifty. But they didn't announce who's going to leave the team. It's very widely rumoured that Buzzo's going to be moving to a coaching role, but it hasn't been confirmed. So Shocks, Fighter, Luca, Excite and Swifty, supposedly the squad. And yeah, Buzzo potentially moving to coach, that's a legendary squad as well. He's been on the team for ages. Maybe he decides it's time to step aside, and with more teams picking up coaches, and if they're still paying him a handsome salary then, or at least a decent salary, then maybe he's still happy to do that. So of course, as a result, Tainted Minds had to make a change. Swifty, of course, coming from Tainted Minds. So they replaced him with Zeppa, I think. I'm pretty sure it was Zeppa who came into this squad in exchange for him. And I'm guessing Buzzo will disappear off here soon enough and go into that coaching role. So we have another couple of changes. Overtime, they got rid of Atlas, I believe, to bring in Natche from the Supremacy squad. So again, you get a situation where a guy like Atlas, who really impressed me through World War II, this French player, I believe, and yeah, he gets kicked off the squad, Natche comes in, and now he has no chance to qualify for the Pro League. And yeah, you see a lot of the upper tier teams, they, not making too many roster changes, so you don't have an issue where, a guy like, I don't know, like Silly or Apathy or something like that. Imagine they got dropped like 2 hours before roster lock. They would have to find their way to sketch onto one of these other teams, and it would cause a chain reaction. So that's why maybe this situation of having the roster lock on January the 2nd isn't the best. It really does promote ideas about team players sketching on teams, especially at the lower end. You had to keep 3 out of 5 of the players that qualified for this tournament by coming top 32 at Las Vegas, which means that 2 of your players in your team, you can just get rid of them potentially last minute, and people who've earned the spot, they can leave. But at the same time, the alternate argument is, of course, if you don't allow teams to change, they have no opportunity to get better, especially after coming into the first event and, seeing how the game actually plays on LAN and deciding, okay, we need to be a faster pace or whatever. You definitely need to allow teams to change, but in allowing that, you open up these possibilities of players who have earned their spot getting dropped off the squad, and, no one really likes to see stuff like that, especially if it's very last minute, as we've seen very much so in the past. But, then again, I don't really think there's too much you can do about it. A couple of other changes here. Niall's team, I believe Nevo left the team, or no, he was dropped off the team, I think. Team was not aggressive enough, roles didn't fit, and I lost motivation in COD kinda. So yeah, they're playing with Keza instead of him, if you guys are aware of those players, and maybe they might honestly have a decent chance. They're kind of known as online as this team, but who knows, one good run for some of these European squads. Top 12 at this event seems relatively achievable with the quality of the teams. So Giants is another really interesting change. I can't say I'm too in tune with Spanish Call of Duty, but there's 3 Spanish teams at this event. You've got Heretics, of course, definitely the best out of the 3, Movistar Riders, and Vodafone Giants, who are kind of like the legendary name in Spanish Call of Duty, and the real legendary name is Tohor, of course, and another legendary name is Legends, coincidentally enough, and he is now off the squad. So let's have a look at this for a second. This is the initial tweet. A legend has been written. Legend is no longer part of the Call of Duty team. Thanks for everything, Carlos. And they replace him with Invidian, who has been on the squad before. We'll have a look through Giants as an organisation and their achievements in a second, because it's actually crazy how long Tohor and Legend have been on this team. Probably the longest duo in Call of Duty history. But let's have a quick look at the reaction from Spanish Call of Duty, because what I've heard, this is not a good roster change for their team. Legend may not be the best online, but at LAN, he's a proven player. He's played for, not exactly a decade, but coming up on it. And similar situation to Tohor, I guess. And yeah, the worst decision in the history of COD in Spain. And, this is all translated from Spanish, so it might not be perfect. But yeah, you are going to regret tweets like this, you know what I mean? So, okay. That's the situation as it is. Let's have a look at the absolutely legendary run of this player. I'm not sure what he's going to do. Maybe he'll go to a coaching role. I'm not exactly sure. This is Tohor's career. Let's go all the way back to Tohor's first ever event. This is, as I say, the most famous name in Spanish Call of Duty. I think a real standout player in Black Ops 3 in the European Online League. The first event he ever played in Black Ops 1 in 2011 was with Legend on the team. And there's barely been an event since where he hasn't played with him. Modern Warfare 3, 2012, they played their first LAN under the Giant organisation. They first played for Vodafone Giants in 2012, and coming up to 7 years later, they were still on the team. All of these events, Tohor and Legend. People talk about the legendary duos. People talk about maybe Scump and Crimsix, maybe Aches and TP. Rated and Joe is kind of one that people might consider as like a duo, I guess. And yeah, these guys, they take the cake. Wow. They're playing with the same team through Infinite Warfare, World War II, all of these games. And now it's the time, apparently, before the Pro League play-in in Black Ops 4, Legends now off the team for Invidian. People don't seem to like it. As far as I'm concerned, it doesn't seem like a good change, even though I'm not too in tune with the situation. I wasn't expecting them to qualify anyway, but now I doubt it's very likely at all. So yeah, very interesting change from them. There also is this change with Midnight Esports, which I'll just cover here. So they pick up Dylan Envoy, Brack, Llama God, Eric, Jet, and Parzelion. Not too familiar with all of those names. Parzelion I know, Llama God obviously, Dylan Envoy. Apart from that, I'm not too sure, but if you guys follow that team, then maybe you'll be interested to know about that. And then yeah, so before we finish, this Nation of Power team, they come top 32 at Vegas. This was a story quite a while ago, but I never got to cover it. This guy called J-Timp and his teammate on the team, they got dropped on like the 15th of December. And yeah, so I don't want to read through the DM that he shared on Twitter here, but it was kind of a big story at the time and I never covered it. So I thought it'd be worth, you can pause the video and read through this for a second. But this was the message from one of his teammates to him, J-Tip, and another one of his teammates that was getting dropped off the squad. And yeah, so this is the message he gets sent, and then this is the replies of the people who got dropped off the team. And yeah, so it kind of sums up the situation where you work really hard, maybe you even carry your team super hard, and then maybe your teammates go behind your back, they kick you off the squad, and now you have no chance of qualifying for the Pro League. This maybe is not the biggest deal considering what were their chances of qualifying for the Pro League anyway. Like the names on this team now, Robbie Beeman, I don't know if you've heard of this guy, but he's like the only guy on the team that people have really heard of. J-Timp I hadn't really heard of particularly, and of course their chances of qualifying are really low, but the fact this opportunity can get taken away from you really is down to the players at the end of the day. There's nothing you can do about potentially forcing teams to not be able to change or anything like that. It has to be really how it is as far as I understand. Now, the overall system, I think, is really good. Of course, as I said, you can get players that are dropped off teams that get sketched on and it's disappointing for them. But the fact that we have a 28-team tournament with 12 teams qualifying over 5 days is truly spectacular. And it's definitely better than what we've seen in previous years in terms of how teams are qualified. So last year, I believe the Pro League was started after like NOLA time. NOLA was the second event in New Orleans. The way teams would qualify was by pro points. So it really mattered that you were playing your pro point matches every single day. And you would also qualify, like you would have to win one, maybe teams would win one more losers bracket match. They would get enough pro points. Maybe they'd do slightly better in a 2K. They'd get some pro points from that. And the pro points qualified you for the Pro League. And there were definitely teams that people were saying, they should have been in the league. But we look at this tournament, whoever gets in the league here 100% deserves it. As I say, the top 12 from this go through. The pool play announcement is on the 8th, which I'll cover, and then I'll do predictions for the event as far as I can see it. So yeah, it's a fantastic event. I know some people would say that they would prefer it if there was 2 events before the Pro League qualifier. It would definitely be ideal, right? If we could have an event like, late November and then the start of January as well. And then we could have the Pro League qualifier at like the end of January and then the Pro League started at the start of February or something like that. It would be nice, of course, to have 2 events to base these things on, but one event I think is reasonable enough and definitely sets a better precedent than last year. So that's pretty much all for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Leave your comments on these teams and also what you think of the system as it currently is, whether you think it's better or worse. For those guys who are continuing to stick around, at the end of this video, I'm probably going to include, after I stop speaking, some sort of clip. Now, I've been thinking about this for a little bit, and I was going through my old laptops and my PS4 and I have so many clips from like GBs. And in yesterday's video, people were talking about liking to see some of my gameplay and stuff like that. So, maybe I'll kind of move into adding those sort of things more down the line. But at the end of videos, I'm just going to start putting these clips from GBs or like maybe even public matches or something like that. Just like a nice clutch or a funny moment or like a nice clip or a 2-piece or something like that. Just to try and give a little bit more substance to the video. And also I have so many of these clips that I was planning to make into like montages and the like, because the final content I really made before I took a break from this channel for a long time, before I started doing this sort of content, was I was making these montages and I was doing like gameplay breakdowns and stuff. And I really enjoyed making those montages, but it just takes a lot of time for like not much return, I guess you could say. So I'm just going to start putting some clips at the end of these videos. If you guys want to stick around and watch it, then that's on you. If not, no problem at all. And yeah, at least I'll kind of use them up and they'll go out on my YouTube channel regardless, and then maybe you guys will get to see some gameplay of me destroying some people, or getting destroyed, as the case may be. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Like if you enjoy, subscribe if you're new, enjoy the clip, whatever it may be, from Black Ops 3, Ghost, anything. It could be really nostalgic, from like a nice clip from a Black Ops 2 public match or something like that. I don't know what I'm going to do. Any suggestions are relevant, are free to be expressed in the comment section below. So thank you guys so much for watching as always, and I'll see you next time.
Protect the objective. Nice work, Black Ops. Get ready for the next round.